Hi, welcome to another edition of Thriving Superstar Guest Expert series. So today we have Alison Levy, and I'm very excited to hear from her about cosmic astrology and Venus in Scorpio. So as we wait on Alison to come, let me tell you a little bit about her. So Alison is a cosmic astrologer with a lifelong interest in astrology and all things woo. Her aim is to connect people to their higher wisdom and help them make challenging life decisions. She's currently preparing to go on the road across America in her RV and is available for astrology and tarot readings. So let me just take a second to get her on. Let's bring her on here. And while we wait, just know that Alison, at the close to the end of this interview, she will be also doing some mini astro readings based on Venus and Scorpio. So I made a little post to help you prepare to get the information to help her do the reading. So you can scroll down on the page, on the Facebook page, and you will see their instructions on how to that information from the astro site. Let's see. So Alison is coming on right now. Welcome, Alison.
Hi, Sasha.
It's
Hi.
good to have you on.
Nice to see you.
You too.
Yeah,
So
great.
how's it going over there with Venus and Scorpio?
Good. Yeah, you can be able to see I'm actually on the road here. I'm not driving, but I'm in my RV. So
Nice. Yeah, I just
just
read your intro, your bio. So we got a little preview into
yeah,
is that
great.
something that you just started?
Yeah, and actually I've just been testing it out. So in like less by the end of the month I'll be like officially on the road. Like I won't have another house anymore.
Oh,
So it's like
free.
it's an exciting transition. Yeah.
So like a gypsy.
Yes. Yeah, like one of those like traveling caravans. Yeah, gypsy tea reading caravan.
So
Absolutely.
cool.
How are you? How are you? Where are you? Where are you these days?
I'm in Canada, in Toronto.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a lot of changes all around. So I'm sure
Yeah,
astrologically.
yeah. Are you noticing a lot of people going through major changes?
Yeah, big shifts. I'm still like preparing for a big shift.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm But that is
Yeah.
more
So,
that no, I was just saying that it was more closer to happen to unveiling than,
uh,
like previous months.
I've missed a couple of words you just said. Are you saying like there's still more things that need to be known. It's like in right before a big shift or something.
Yeah, also that it's closer to like you don't need some like you see more signs of the shift. Like how you're
Ah,
actually in your RV before.
yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, people are really getting aligned. Yep.
yeah, and like being presented with the opportunities right there.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, absolutely.
tell us a little bit now about your work itself, what you do, what is cosmic astrology, because
Oh, great.
that's something new for a lot of us.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's interesting that it is a new phenomenon right now. I got interested in it about 3 years ago, and I studied with a teacher, Stephanie Azaria, and she calls it cosmic consciousness. And she channels every day. So she channels the system. She also works with, if you're a student in with her, you get to also help progress the system, and it's a complete system that helps us move into the new age. Um, she actually got it. It's really interesting story because she got it from Elizabeth Clare Prophet, who was a very well-known spiritual leader in, I think, like, I want to say her heyday was the 80s, maybe also like the late 70s, her and her husband. And they brought in a lot of new concepts. Like it uses a lot of the ascended masters, even like the like rays, like colored rays, and it brings each of the astrological symbols to its higher, like when we say like 5D concepts. So it elevates everything and it helps us um, meet the energy of a higher energy and be in our hearts and connected to our higher self. So if there's actually like a chart overlay, so it you would look at a normal astrology chart. I can use my same program I've been using, like Solar Fire, but then, well, first of all, you're bringing the newer found planets too,
Mm.
and you can use asteroids too, and then but actually there's something to do with this chart overlay and it kind of changes things a bit. And the system actually uses Capricorn as the beginning.
Mm.
So the winter solstice, the Milky Way. So I can go more into depth about any of these things. And it's interesting. It's a channeled system that actually even is said to have come from Mother Mary. So we could say it's for the new age. It's also like from the ancient future, and that's when you start to get it gets really out there in a way. But you don't have to even consider those concepts.
Okay.
So
So how is it different from? I know you said it's a chart overlay, like how you do it.
yeah,
Now how's it
oh, I can show.
different from
Yeah,
astrology?
maybe I can somehow show everybody. I probably could. So in a regular chart, when you're looking at the circle, let's see. Well, I'm backwards, right? So it would be over here. The ascendant is on the left side,
Yeah.
and the midheaven's on top. So those terms don't change, but there's this overlay that you're looking that you look at the top of the chart and actually go clockwise. So, and this comes into play with certain timing. So you can totally use it like a regular chart, use the rising sign, and you're still looking at houses, but then this other lens, you start at the top of the chart, and actually it starts with, so Capricorn, the winter solstice, going clockwise, um, and so Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, the same thing, and they're called hours,
Hmm.
and it brings in this higher, it's the 5D meaning of each sign. So just like just to start off, like Capricorn, instead of it being the sea goat, it becomes the great director. So we're like the divine director. We're totally connected to our higher self and getting like, so that's why, so people, so that's the ninth house, right?
Mhm.
So if you have a lot of planets in the ninth house, you could say that's the Capricorn hour. The language isn't really necessary. You can use it or not use it, but it
Okay.
means that those planets are directly, you have like direct line with your higher self, or could say like great spirit. Um, so yeah, and then in each house or hour has an updated meaning and symbol, but it's a lot. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
because
so
you have to do a
yeah,
whole study into it to really get into it.
yeah, it was tricky for me to actually. She want like the best way to sometimes learn a new system is to like you have to like forget what you already know, and that was hard because I've been doing Western astrology for so long, so I actually do a mix of both. So
Mhm.
yeah.
But you tend to do more of that one. No.
I don't know. I feel I'm really where I'm at is like a blend. Like I kind of blend it, and depending on who I'm speaking with, it just whatever comes
Right.
out. Because like if somebody has their sun like conjunct one of these new 5D archetypes, like say Sedna, which is like the farthest out planet. Well, actually now there's new ones that have just been coming out, but let's say let's say your sun is conjunct this planet Sedna, then I would really talk about that. But if your sun or a major planet is not, say, aspecting one of these newer archetypes, then we don't really need to talk about like those as much.
Mhm.
So yeah, but if like say Sedna, which represents like the remembering of the divine feminine, it's a very much being in touch with the cosmic consciousness. I think it's like being able to read the Akashic records. It's not, if it's on your midheaven, then that's going to talk about your career, and you have such an access to Akashic records. So that's just like one example of
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. It does sound like there's so much more that you could, go into than just what you say, right? Yeah, so as I was trying to get the orientation of this to be split screen, so that we would
Okay.
have like equal screens, but somehow I don't know.
It's okay.
Anyway, so you're like kind of like over my shoulder.
Right. Hi. Hi, over here. Oh, look. Hi, Sasha. Sorry.
So tell us, so we're talking
Yeah.
about like using cosmic astrology to connect to your higher self. We were looking at
Yeah.
Venus and what Venus is
Mm-hmm.
doing right now. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
more about it
Right.
from that angle.
Absolutely. Well, I just first want to say like how I've noticed like astrology is really booming. Like like now everyone's talking about Venus retrograde, and
Yeah,
like obviously everyone talks about Mercury retrograde. That's been a few years.
yeah,
But
that's
before that,
true.
people weren't really talking about retrograde. So it's just really becoming part. It's entering more of the mainstream consciousness, and um, so so the Venus retrograde, there's definitely like people are very concerned maybe when they hear retrograde, they're like, uh-oh, and then in general, because they're like, oh, I'm gonna have to deal with a lot of things from the past. I'm gonna have difficulties come up again, like, you
Hmm.
know, I'm gonna be kind of roadblocked. So um, I definitely would like to talk about like the general 3D of, meaning of Venus retrograde, and then kind of show like and illuminate some of the new concepts when you're looking through the 5D lens as
Right.
well.
Yeah, that would be really
Yeah,
interesting to see, to hear about. Yeah. So
sure.
tell us.
But how about,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
How about,
Oh, I just wanted to just like to get like your perspective. Do you feel like a lot of people are talking about it or concerned?
yeah, you mean the
Yeah.
retrograde Venus? Yes,
Hmm.
I did notice that. Like as you were saying that that people usually talk about Mercury retrograde,
Hmm.
And and then all of a sudden you're seeing, and it's social media too, right? And you're seeing people are sharing about Venus, and then of course Venus has a connection, a very close connection, relationship interests for people, so so that's always
Right.
something, that is a concern for a lot
Yeah.
of people. So I see that as you say, like a lot of sharing around that team right now. Hmm.
Yeah, in many ways, Venus gets like right to the heart of almost everything or our issues in a way because it is about it about tangibly it can be about relationships and money
Hmm.
and those are pretty much like most people's stresses in the modern age, or like the root of their stresses. So it really does, it is very important. And um, like in general, though, like I, I really think that Venus is about um, like without any if it's working without any issues or and without maybe any like traumas or ever anything, it's very much about like being able to enjoy your life without anything getting in the way.
Right.
So being able to have whatever you want, and whatever that means for each individual is different, and then it also changes over time. When you're when you're younger, you want to go maybe play down the street or you want to have the new toy or in
Hmm.
general, and then as we get older we might um want even at some point to have a bunch of money so we can help people, like
Right.
there's so many um versions of Venus, and really what it gets down to is our self-worth. So do we feel worthy of really being able to create the lives we want and achieve what we want, enjoy it's but I think like energetically, like when I tune into Venus, it's just like enjoying.
Hmm.
It can be as simple as feeling good, happiness, um, and I think like that tapping into like the universal um, principle that we are love. I think that I mean I'm still figuring this stuff out, but I almost feel like Venus is the way that we connect with the fact that we are love, if that makes sense. Yeah, something like that. I'm still working out the words.
Hmm. Like
Yeah,
the essence of the, like the goddess of love, kind of like
right.
that. Just
Yeah, well, that's
it's a
what we're,
feeling.
yeah, 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 feeling. Definitely it's feeling centered. It's interesting because then, yeah, the moon is also a little bit about, it's about more about emotions, but there's a lot of feeling that comes up. So, it's, it's like I tend to think about like say like you picture yourself like in like some sort of like capsule or container, and you picture yourself like, well, all the things that you want that you don't have yet are like right outside it. It's almost like they're just like literally right beyond like your reach, and the reason that we don't have them yet is there's some sort of block, some sort of unconscious block, that we're here in time and space to work out. Um, so yeah, that's how like I picture like the process working.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then I can talk more about like Scorpio and then retrograde because retrograde has an interesting meaning in the 5D consciousness. So
Right. Because like in the with the Mercury retrograde, like how we have all these tech issues and like things that come up. Is there what is there in with the Venus retrograde?
right. Well, so I actually, I really love how the 5D system says that a retrograde planet, any retrograde planet, is about going in direction towards source. So
Mm,
if we're going direction of spirit, if that archetype, so if Mercury, which is our mind, communication archetype, if that is going in another direction, then it's hard to be on the planet having a regular 9 to 5 plus all the other things that we have on our plate. So since our busy modern age isn't really set up around the retrogrades it should be, then if it were more, we could connect to these higher parts of ourselves. So
mhm,
I actually love Mercury retrograde. I get like I get the like the coolest ideas, dreams. It feels like I'm like it's totally surreal. I enjoy that energy. I don't have a 9 to 5, so it makes it uh in the last few
mhm,
years I can tune into that energy. Um, but when people are rushing and trying to
mhm,
live normally, I actually think it's your higher if you're blocked, like if your car breaks down, it's in the shop and you can't live your normal life, or your phone drops in the water and you can't use your phone, it's your higher self making sure that you actually tune in. You're trying to get new information.
mhm.
Um, like I think everything's our higher self trying to work something out, and it doesn't have to be at all easy, or it can be extremely painful things that happen, but
Yeah.
I really honestly believe that everything it's for our growth in some way, um,
Mhm.
to experience all of life. Yeah.
Yeah, like if we get too carried away by the hustle, the bustle, and the 3D world of doing, then that will take us back.
Right. Yeah,
Mhm,
so Venus then would be really looking at wounds of around self-worth. And the self-worth is the teaching principle in order to enjoy. Like it's about how do we enjoy everything. So I would suggest focusing more on being positive about what you want, because if we're just like, oh, I don't feel good about this, I don't like this, that's a lot of the laws of the universe state that you're actually asking, you're mistakenly accidentally asking for more of the problem.
mhm,
So you want to state it in the positive, like I would like more of this. I'm every day it's getting easier for this to come into my life. There's all these different ways you can do that. And Yeah, it's our birthright to really be free and open to all the good things that we want.
right. So how we use a negative, so reframing a negative in a positive
Hmm.
light. It's something that
Yeah, I mean,
could be negative, or we
yeah,
could take it that way.
right. It's good to notice the negative. Like you want to take note. It's not like, oh, ignore it or anything or pretend it's not there, but you want to
Mhm.
emphasize the positive and bring in positive energy. It's it's really important.
Right.
So,
So we're gonna later on, as we go and do some
mhm.
mini readings for anybody who's here
Yeah,
and wants some insight into the Venus, because we're still gonna discuss Venus and Scorpio, right? And
yeah,
unearth some of
yeah,
that.
and yeah, folks can tell me which house or houses the Venus retrograde is in. So, uh, knowing actually your natal Venus would also be helpful. And if it is retrograde, this Venus retrograde cycle goes from 25 degrees Libra to 10 degrees Scorpio.
Mm,
Um, so that's the zone that its whole, you could say, it's the shadow. That's the whole trajectory. And the it's almost a 3.5, it's like a 3.5 month process always. So this one really started, like, it entered the zone 25 degrees Libra. Venus entered on September 3rd, and it's
mm,
not going to move out till December 17th. So That's one
Wow.
reason we really need to, yeah, we need to somehow befriend these cycles because, Mars was retrograde. Mars has been in Aquarius and it's been like half the year. So, like we can't just say, oh, those retrogrades, like it's like all the time. They're not they're so
Is
yeah,
it unusual this year that the
it's
retrogrades?
really interesting. Yeah, and then this summer, like everything was retrograde at the same time, and then all the outer planets
Mhm.
and Mars went forward, and now it's just Venus retrograde. But then when Venus ends its retrograde, like Mercury's gonna go retrograde. So
Because that
yeah,
usually has, usually have like two Mercury retrogrades at least, right?
yeah, there's three a year.
Okay.
Yeah,
And yeah, I remember in summer there were like six of them, six planets.
yeah. I so again in the 5D consciousness, the retrograde is towards source. I couldn't tell the difference between. It felt like I was on dreaming like all the time or connected
Mm,
spiritually. I personally my well, I got this RV and it had to be in the shop for most of the summer. So I took the hint from the universe to just like pretty much hermit out and I was just getting all these this new kind of spiritual even abilities. It was
mm.
really wild. So I say that too to like just show people like if they had those kind of experiences, like I think that that's normal for retrograde. Um, and
Like to have
yeah, and
the
to like go with it.
right, like the downloads or the insights that come like in
Yeah,
dream
what
time.
did you experience with all the retrograde?
I, it seems like so long ago, but yeah, but it really was just like with like a month or something, right?
Well, there were eclipses too.
Right.
So there was all during eclipses. So like July, August was everything was happening at once.
Yeah, I felt like like for me, I had a lot of things that I like projects that I was doing, and I kept getting more insights, but not necessarily like following through yet with things as much.
Okay.
So it was more like
Okay.
receiving a lot of insights and kind of more trusting, like getting that strengthening that ability because patience is something that we all
Yeah.
sometimes like when when you're doing something and you can kind of tell where it might be, but the steps on the way to trust in between that can,
Tell, yeah.
yeah. So
What is your main what's your sun, moon, and rising?
Virgo sun, moon in Libra, and Aries ascendant.
Okay, so a lot of those, wow, yeah, a lot of those would be even about patience. Like the Aries, no patience. The Virgo has the patience, but like would get thrown off by having to always like to not come like finish things because
Yeah.
it wants to progress. Um, wow.
Yeah, it's quite
Yeah,
a it's like
yeah.
sometimes different personalities, take over. Sometimes it's
Yes.
more Aries and sometimes it's more Libra. Of course, most of the time it's going to be Virgo because I have like Mercury in Virgo too, Mars in Virgo.
Mm.
So yeah, definitely I can see how it works in my day to day, like
Mm-hmm.
how the astrology could play out. But like the nitty gritty of all the like what's going on right now that sometimes could people might get lost in in understanding all of that, in appreciating. It's already so much the birth chart, right? To put together and to understand how it connects to you. But then when we're going through these things, how does each of these things that's happening now, how does it each connect to you? So I mean, usually we would see people like when you do a forecast, it's like a general a overview of it, right? But you can get more specific.
Yeah. I mean, I am saying again, like it's so popular, like everyone is
Yeah.
going into depth about what Venus retrograde means. Um, so yeah, and it's so again, it's gonna bring up like your own Venus. So where your Venus is by house and sign and any aspects, it's going to remind you of who you are
Mm-hmm.
and what you came here, I think to enjoy and to um like it's like we're like clearing away everything so Venus can be happy basically. Then so this Venus retrograde in Scorpio is really ideal for doing that work. So the Scorpio energy, it's totally going to the, you could say going to the depths and seeing what's really there. So it would be definitely recognizing parts of ourself or our psyche that that were that definitely might be getting in the way. So any sort of trauma or past hurts, of course. So with Venus or relationship, a lot of trust issues come up. And then with money, that's that, again, self-worth, which is about everything with Venus. Um, so the Scorpio, Venus retrograde in Scorpio, especially since Saturn went through Scorpio a few years ago and Jupiter is also in Scorpio. Saturn, we all a couple years ago, like 2013, 2014, were very challenging. Saturn and Scorpio, we were looking uh, at all our deepest fears, really. And
Mm,
so since we survived that, like that was really hard for everyone. I mean, I
mm.
ascribe to very positive astrology, but I don't see a way to frame that in an easy way at all.
Yeah, it was a it.
So,
Yeah, I remember that year. It was very
yeah.
challenging.
So again, now Jupiter has been in Scorpio, and like the day Jupiter moved into Scorpio last November was the day like the Harvey Weinstein and thing broke, and then the Me Too movement came right out of that. So that shows us, like, we can look at that archetypally of what's going on now in the collective, like the so the
Mm.
collective
The
psyche or
same day.
unconscious. Yeah, that was yeah. Then the news broke that day. There's always when it with a outer planet, there's always something going on. Usually with the outer planets like Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, there will
Hmm.
be some sort of natural disaster, some sort of massive weather uh, thing going on. Yeah. Sorry, and I don't want to sound, and I'm not trying I really want to be careful with our words. Our words are very powerful.
Yeah.
So when I say that, definitely I can in the last 10 years, you can look up dates, the planets moved, Chiron, Uranus, Neptune. There was a major event that happened, typhoon, Fukushima. I'm just talking about that because I think that helps like us really believe the power of astrology.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, if that's scary, then like we have to be careful about how we think about it. And I think like the more we get conscious of this stuff, I believe like we won't need to have those mega events to happen to awaken our consciousness for whatever reason.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, we're going through
but
such a big shift collectively, right? Like, into 5D. Anyway.
yeah, yeah, it's a huge, uh, such a
Yeah.
huge topic. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're gonna see more evidence in some ways of astrology because it's like such a heightened time, like, high intensity.
Yeah. Can you just tell me how long you want
Mm-hmm.
to go to so that I
Yeah.
just want to know what else to talk about. That's
Okay.
all. Want to make sure what else I should feed in.
Okay. So probably it's already been like 35 minutes. So we can go to like another 15 minutes within that time.
Okay, is that including doing a couple readings that we have?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have Al and Radhika. I don't know if I'm saying your name right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you seeing? Are you
Let me see if this. What's
are
that?
you seeing anybody on your screen?
Yeah. Al is watching, and then I'm not sure if Radhika and I hope I'm saying her name right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, but
Okay.
yeah. So I don't think it's a one person now. Yeah. So yeah, if anybody wants to, if you just actually post, if you want to post where the Venus retrograde's happening, um, or even about your natal Venus,
Mm-hmm.
and Sasha, if you want to do yours too.
Okay.
Um,
Sure. And
yeah,
do you need your time of birth?
yeah. I have my computer here. I could time to get, and then yeah, that's always great. Yeah, especially if it's just one or two charts. That's easy. We could do that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's how I'll be looking down. I'll be putting in the information.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Sorry, if, like personally,
Do you want?
no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything more to add around Venus and Scorpio before?
Um, let's see. Let me just look at my notes, just make sure I'm not missing anything. Well, just the Scorpio energy. So the Scorpio energy has many levels. Like the Western astrologer usually talks about there being actually 5 different symbols for Scorpio. No other sign has that. And,
Five.
all the way from, yeah, so you have the snake, the scorpion. Oh, I
Uh-huh.
always forget when. There's the eagle,
Oh,
and then it
yeah.
ends with the phoenix. I really,
So like
yeah. Like I think
animals
I
or something.
always, right. Well, because the zodiac, it's about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
animals. So that, and then right in 5D cosmic astrology, we call Scorpio the alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the reason I even got into this system was because of a few of these things I had already, like, a few of them I was already putting together on my own and, like, wondering how I was like, how it was just too big. I was like, I see, like,
Mm-hmm.
I was calling it positive astrology, and I was like, there's got to be more information out there. So when I found this cosmic consciousness, I was like, oh, this is the system. I don't even have to put it together. It's already there. Um,
Yeah,
such like,
sounds like
so
it.
yeah, yeah, and I did find it through B school, so similar how
Oh.
we know each other. Yeah, through Katie. So through Katie Kaswowski. So okay, so Scorpio, so the process would be like to recognize like what's going on unconsciously. So anything and usually unconscious stuff, it is handed down through the family. So the Scorpio energy is able to recognize it in the self and then maybe think about like a scientist, where did it come from? How can and then like a psychologist. So they're very much like can figure this stuff out. Like Scorpios and Scorpio rising, they like see everyone's stuff. Like
Mm.
that's actually energetically exhausting for them. Like they they just see through everybody's masks. So but ultimately that Scorpio energy is about clearing all that out. And so with that, so having like actually a pure vessel, and then from that can manifest uh, really anything. So from like a pure heart, like manifesting and being able to transform other people. So like how a shaman can
Mhm.
really help other people uh, do that work. So that's how it's done, through being clear.
Right.
So yeah.
So like the Scorpio in Venus energy, so the Scorpio is able to dive deeper emotionally, right?
Yeah.
And as you say, get to like the bottom of things, and then from that transform whatever's there and clear it out if it
Hmm.
needs to. Like, is it like an, because you know how Scorpios like they like is taught to be the like master of emotions and emotional will. But in terms of looking at things, is it like being objective around emotions or being
Mm.
diving deep through it or
Yeah, it's interesting because like the 3D and 5D are a little different on this. In the 5D consciousness, like by the time you get to Scorpio, you've already done the emotional work. Um, like I was talking a bit before about this chart overlay. It's called the clock. It's called the cosmic clock.
mhm.
And when you by the time you get to Scorpio, you've done that emotional work. The emotional signs are actually Cancer, Leo, and Virgo.
Okay.
And and so Scorpio is one of is like second to last sign in the system, and it's actually got to like creating on the physical realm. So this is where but how do we get to that point?
Mhm.
Um, the like the Scorpio is really known, as far as the scorpion, it has the hard shell as protection because the emotions, because we're all very sensitive, and so that the hard shell of the Scorpio is the protective mechanism. It also brings a lot of strength to be able to do the work that most people don't want to do. Like if one doesn't really have any Scorpio in the chart, they're gonna be very adverse to doing like the hard, difficult, emotional, messy work that Scorpio does, um, or even being like a surgeon, like literal, like that would be a very Scorpio job to have, um, or like a psychologist or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Did
really,
I answer?
yeah, so really some really being able to go deep like fearlessly into
Yeah, spirit. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So in that way, you have to be detached, but still present. So it's a math.
That's interesting. Okay, so this is where I think Scorpio is such this energy is I mean I'm just I think it's probably the most difficult energy because you actually can't be detached too much
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be you're going in with mission because you deeply care or are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning and doing all the work or even helping someone else do a transformation as a therapist in whatever way, you're actually enmeshed. But you have to be enmeshed in a safe way. You're protecting your energy. Like even before this call, I did my grounding
Mm-hmm.
exercises and called in help and light, and that I speak the truth or that I help, in some way. So like it's doing that work that actually is very enmeshed and connected with other people. That's again, it's the stuff that people really shy away from. It can take people a long time to want to do this work, to go to therapy for some reason or to maybe
Mm-hmm.
try to kick an addiction, to admit that you have a problem,
Right.
to admit that you have like our family stuff and baggage is like passed down, and people sometimes just accept it and say, oh, this is how we are. But usually there's somebody in the family, usually the black sheep is the one actually that is here to heal the family line.
Mm-hmm.
And it's through that it's through that Scorpio stuff that or the eighth house and Pluto and those are all. So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we had Sean. Sean just joined. Said hi. Hi,
Oh,
Sean.
hi. Oh, okay, I'm not seeing that. So yeah,
Yeah.
should do happy to answer any more questions or do chart.
Yeah. So I don't know how many people are here right now. Okay, so it says
Oh,
two.
three,
It
two.
says two.
I said three for a second.
Because that answered my question. But if anyone is here and
Oh, there we go. I see. Hi, Sean.
yeah, I'm glad you're here. So
Yeah, does anybody,
yeah, if anybody,
sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Yeah, if anybody wants to me to look at where the Venus retrograde is, if you know where it is, or if you want me to look up their chart, just like type in your birth information, place, date, and time. Um, and I'll look it up.
Sean is also an
But you could also
astrologer.
just, great. Yeah, or so Sean, yeah, if you want to talk about your experience, maybe. Oh, she could type it. We could read it if she types it.
Yeah,
Maybe about, yeah.
yeah. So your system is cosmic astrology that you're using, looking at it from a 5D perspective.
Right.
Okay, so
Oh,
Sean
cool.
knows exactly.
Awesome. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting, Sean. So the Venus is going right up to your midheaven, but not quite for that's interesting, huh? Because her midheaven, she's saying MC is at 11 degrees Scorpio and the Venus went up to 10. So it just went up to, through her ninth house and stopped and now it's going retrograde through her ninth house. Um, so writing as we speak. So yeah. Wow. Are you just getting a ton of insights? You just, Sean, are you getting a lot of downloads ever since Venus has been in that house? No? Well, Sasha, do you want to talk about your Venus retrograde or
Oh,
what?
she has a chart
Oh,
info.
yeah, I can't share my chart on my phone. I don't have it on my phone.
I'm actually really new to all just this type of technology. I was using previously using like the my computer. Okay, so
Okay.
she says,
No. Well, how about I mean, yeah, we've got her information. The interesting thing, Sean, if you'd like, you've already told me enough. Like, the interesting thing will be, so you're doing all this writing during the Venus retrograde, and then after it clears its shadow, so December 17th, then it'll Venus will be exactly on your midheaven. So you'll probably, that's when you'll whatever you've been working on will get seen in the world. So it's really, really interesting timing that how perfect that is for her. That Venus is going right up to her midheaven, but not quite. So the midheaven is actually where how we're seen in the world
mm,
and like our public view and yeah, if we're visible, if we want to be visible. Like if you don't people don't have any planets on the midheaven or 10th house, they don't really have interest in being famous or that kind of thing, being seen. And somebody with a lot of planets, they might get all this attention and hopefully they learn how to deal with that. You could send your chart. I don't know if it's necessary because we got the sense of where your retrograde is. Thank you. So if anybody else wants to, like for me, the Venus retrograde's in my 11th house, and um, I think I'm doing like a lot of thinking about what I want in the future, what I'm creating. I'm like thinking if like I want to take like a counseling course to have like a certificate to go along with the astrology.
mhm.
Like, so I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. 11th house is very much about that. Um, I think there's also been a focus on friends.
Mhm.
Also, I feel like I've been more social the Venus retrograde, so I like that. It's been nice. Yeah. So
So Sean,
and
if you
then
want to send a chart, and And by the time you can send it to me, and I'll see. Or if you can share, I don't know how you can share it here. Again,
Like
I'm
a
not so
JPEG.
helpful. Yeah, I guess so. If
Let
that
me see. You can do
works.
comment. Yeah, I'm not sure what's possible on here. I'm trying, but be cool to know. Yeah, I think you could probably paste an image in, copy and paste
Oh,
something.
okay. So you can send it to me in a message, and then I can
Oh, okay.
share with Allison.
Oh, great. So, so yeah, I think have I done a okay job with explaining like the new system?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. The 5D,
yeah,
and then as it relates
the
the difference between 3D Venus in Scorpio and 5D Venus in Scorpio.
ah, yeah. Do you want me to talk about that
Yeah,
more?
just a little bit.
So yeah, the 3D Venus in Scorpio is more so the Scorpion. It is more about really like more dealing with like the hurts. So like really looking at where we've been wounded with our self-esteem or in relationship or the ability to give and receive love.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we are love. So if there's any blocks to that, which which we all have being, through our families, through society, um, uh, that's like we would be looking at that, aware of that more. And if we feel like stuck, so if we're heartbroken over something, or we feel we can't have something, or we feel stuck financially, if those things are coming up now, I have heard a lot of people that are like, all of a sudden they're like, they're just their bills, they're having trouble paying their bills. Like that is a
Mm-hmm.
message to look at, like those things. And I feel like the tools of the cosmic consciousness help us with it. Um, so, like one tool would be to uh, actually to take like a step back and observe your life. So if you have something even as painful as a heartbreak, or as painful as a concern of, can I pay my rent? Am I going to be on the street? Like people, these are very serious fears. Like if you can just take a step back, like we call it the observer's perch, and be like, that's not me. I'm I'm seeing this happen. Look, I'm watching myself. I'm watching my 3D self go through this hardship. And just by even separating yourself from you not being that challenge, you start this process of even, you could call it the holding or healing, and taking back the power. Scorpio is a lot about power. So it's like somewhere along the ways we gave up our power to and were let down, or thought we weren't good enough for something. And of course, these things happen. Um, but we really came in to each of us, like came in, to deal with these in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So how
Yeah,
does that sound? Like,
sounds yeah.
yeah.
So reclaiming your power in
Hmm.
the sphere that is falling for you, but particularly around finances and like your desires, what you truly want, right? Like that's the
Right.
5D.
And right. And you could want just to help people, like you want, your spiritual business to do well, so that you can help people, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
have extra money so you can help people with your extra money. Like even just that, it doesn't mean it's like, you want lots of ice cream, but that could be there too.
Well, I sent you
Oh,
Sean's chart.
okay, let me see if I can do this.
Oh, thanks, Sean. I got it. I just sent it.
Okay. Ah, all right. Okay, what do you want me to look at? Yeah, yeah, see the 11 degrees. I mean, right away I'm like seeing, where her Venus is, and could talk about that in general. Um,
Yeah, let's look at
but yeah,
Venus.
because the Venus retrograde, in her where it is in her chart, it's not going to go across any planets. I mean, oh, actually, no, it is. So here, this is great because Venus, um, 3 times is going to conjunct her natal Neptune in that house. Now, um, that is amazing. So she's going to get and it's at the last degree. So we call, oh, I know two other things I want to talk about. So the any planet at the last degree is considered like a master at that sign.
Mm.
So her Neptune, that's her spiritual connection, is it's extremely powerful. So and again, that the ninth house is connected to her higher self. So she has this amazing spiritual connection, and you know, sometimes we take these for granted when we have such an amazing connection and ability. So that Venus going over that, of course, Venus being, her creativity, it's just going to be really uh, pretty dramatic of whenever it crosses the Neptune, but this whole retrograde. So, so I guess it probably crossed 29 Neptune, probably like before the middle of September, and then it's going backwards. We'll probably meet Neptune again early November, and then when it finishes off, um, so maybe then early December or something like that. We could, do the timing with the transits. I don't have access to that right now, but you can get very profound downloads. Um, I'm curious, what is she writing about?
Uh,
Is she
um,
writing about relationship, or
I'm not
it's
sure.
in Libra?
I'm not sure if she's talking about right here, but she so she said I have two people from past lives come back since January 2018.
Oh, oh, past life partners in both cases. Oh, okay. So that's a lot of stuff going on. So how has it been dealing with them? Do you feel like you're at a new level, Sean? Like, since you're so aware of what's going on, um, this awareness is also that very Scorpio. Like, so look, she's aware that their past life, and she's aware that that she needs to be treated even better. So, um, yeah. When do you mean they have Venus in Scorpio, or?
I think there was more to that comment. Are you seeing it? I mean, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, it says Venus in Scorpio. I'm wondering. Yeah,
Okay.
it's that's like
Okay, I should say
so
in both cases were
uh,
not very nice to me. Karmic and old
right,
wounds came up.
right.
Venus and Scorpio. In both cases, I was duped. I was also aware I knew these men before.
Yeah. Well, this is a perfect Venus retrograde experience to have, and like now you're so aware. What is that thing like? What's that saying like? I can't remember, but it's like uh cross me once, shame on you, twice,
Mm,
you know, second or third time, and shame on me.
yeah.
So she's had these experiences. Like, I would even expect for there to be some another, like, almost like a test. Like, that kind of, it feels like tests. Oh, okay, I see Venus and Scorpio moon, and oh wow. So they were like tests for you to see where how you would handle it, and now you're so aware now, Sean. So if anything like this happens again, you'll probably know in advance, like before getting involved. Um, yeah, so you agree. Cool. Great. So, yeah, and isn't
Mm.
that it's so amazing? Like they even were Scorpio, so they're like the perfect
Mhm.
energies to what is that called? Ah, they like brought this up in her.
Triggers.
So yeah, what's that?
Like triggers.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, yep.
And both were astrologers too.
Oh, really? Oh, that's wow. I wonder if they're realizing what's going on. Yeah. Yeah, there's been this whole journey of maybe how men are experiencing this versus or people who feel like they carry that like masculine energy or people carrying the
Mhm.
feminine energy
On a
and how they're experiencing this.
on a global scale, you're seeing that too, right? Like on the
Mm,
global on a
yeah.
bigger platform, what the mass consciousness is exposed to, like well
Yeah.
consciously that they're exposed to through what's going on politically and on that stage.
Exactly.
So that's interesting too, because they
Yeah.
like because there's a question of whether um, um the sense of victim in
Uh,
both on both sides on both for both
yeah.
male and female.
Yep. Absolutely. Be and because this has been passed down, that all the trauma and the way that men treat women
Hmm.
have has just been passed down for how many millennia. So we still haven't figured it out yet. We haven't cleared it yet.
Yeah, and there's so much around that too, right? Scorpio is really allowing
Hmm.
that energy to dive deep into those issues.
Yeah.
I can't imagine on a regular basis that we would all collectively be looking at at it so deeply. So she said,
Yeah. That is interesting. Yeah, we're going to be out of that Scorpio energy. Though Pluto is so strong now, and in the next few years, so Pluto being that transformation energy, I really see it as Kali energy. It's like
mm,
destructive, whatever's no longer going to be helpful for the future. So that's the planet that is the modern ruler of Scorpio. So even though there's not going to be any major transits in Scorpio for a while, I talked before about we had the Saturn transit. We're finishing up the Jupiter transit like in a month,
mm,
and then that'll be it after the Venus. So, but with Pluto in Capricorn and Saturn is going to join, that's going to really transform structures. So we're going to see the corruption get is for the next couple of years. That's just gonna ramp up and up, like all the leadership corruption. That's clearly
mm-hmm,
changing drastically.
right.
Yeah.
So Sean said, in both cases, it was a whole Me Too story, even among circles
Wow.
spiritual men.
Well, isn't that, I'm sorry you had to go through that. See, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, like, yeah, we're not really immune to this. Like it touches everyone's life in some way.
Mm-hmm,
These things like that we're like we like to you see a lot of people like blaming and pointing fingers and going, "Oh, that," like so we even like to talk about, "Oh, that politician's corrupt," or the president is, you know, got whatever problems we want to say he is. Like I really just see that as finger pointing,
mm-hmm.
and because we all have stuff we're working
Yeah,
out.
and
And some of it's very deep.
whoever's
Yeah.
there is really triggering us too to are we looking at our own or point again as you say pointing figures because everybody has things that they're working through as just by being part of this whole dynamic of being a human.
Right. It's almost like we're not so special because we
Hmm.
have like these gifts and we have these like could say these traumas that are passed on, and like we share them with millions of people.
Yeah.
Um, and no one talks about those things until now. Like now, so many people are revealing this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we need a way to. I really think we need a way to like handle it some way. Like we're just set up right now to like help. We want to help the victims right now. Um, and there's not a lot of. I mean, soon, hopefully soon, we'll get to the part where we're even helping the perpetrators and not even calling them evil
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. And then being
So
just like, people are wrongfully blamed too. So being fair, that's
oh right, blaming
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Being like blaming wrongfully, like they accused the person, or like there are other things involved, like somebody may have
Mm.
been in jail and wrongfully accused, and it takes you back to past lives and experiences collectively too, like
Well,
movie I've
what's
explained.
your take on like past lives and knowing what is true or not? Like when you hear like so you've had some how do you know about your past lives and how have you like handled process like thinking about that in any
Hmm.
way?
Well, it's more like whatever experience like right now that comes up, that okay, definitely this can't be just right now. This has
Mm.
happened because it's so intense, right? And so that's like a segue into, okay, there was something on along here, and specifically physical issues really like kind of scream out, okay, something did happen in this area
Right,
before. It can't You
right.
can't just have like so much say pain in one area for no reason.
Wow.
Like there may be like a we could rationalize it up in this time frame, but really it isn't justified only now, right? Like there must be something more. So that helps
Right.
when you have like physical signals of like glaring.
Yeah.
Sean
And
says,
and that's yeah. Oh,
Sean says it taught me you're never too old to be abused, and not think anyone who's called spiritual is actually aware enough to not do this. As you're saying, one's behavior towards me was so bad, I told his boss and got him fired. Found out what he did to me. Yeah.
oh, I might actually know about this, but we don't have to go there right now. Okay. Um, wow, I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. So you're talking about pain points and like how
Mhm.
so it's like can we get to the point where we feel a pain in some way? Like physical is a good way to talk about that. Like can we feel physical pain and 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 go, "Oh, wow, what's this about?"
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
again. And then like yeah, you've looked into maybe a past life experience or a fear. So like this is very Scorpio. So past lives really help with the Scorpio stuff. Um,
Okay.
for sure, right? Wow.
And the pain, it could go two ways, right? Because like, you can either be submerged and drowning in it, or if within a pain, that's like a really big test. And pain comes in so many ways. It's not just, I said physical, but then there's so many ways, like emotionally, this like repeating patterns, things that keep happening and coming back and
Right.
like blaring a signal. And like even though you're aware, you're not immune to to going back along that path. It really takes a lot of
Mm.
focus and discipline, to
Right.
commitment. And sometimes it's not that you also like free will, like you probably decide that you want to follow a certain path to grow. So many factors. That's why, like as Sean was saying, even so-called spiritual people
Right,
have all these
right.
traumas, and probably more so too. That is, you know.
That's interesting. Right. Yeah, the only thing like I've noticed like in the political realm, if someone points a finger, like just like I remember like I forget the names of everybody, but when the Bill Clinton scandal happened,
Mm,
the Republicans who pointed fingers and were like, "That's terrible. He lied and he cheated on his wife." Those people since then, I forget their names. I kind of like I vaguely remember like who it was. They've all since then, like what is it? Is it is it like Rushbot? Like they've all actually since then been charged with the same thing. They all have cheated on their wives. Like it like you can actually like so when someone's like really angry and like that's bad. Like you can like almost assume that they've done it.
mm.
Be like, oh,
Like
thanks for making that obvious.
there's some energy in
Yeah,
them that is triggered in some way.
yeah, and they're like they're so it's well that whole is definitely like the way
So
the psyche. They're like
to protect
they're
themselves
trying to protect themselves.
from, yeah.
Right. Yeah, you hear it like all the
So you'll
time.
never think that
If
they
someone
they were involved if they were standing up
you
for
hear about it like
victims.
I'm sorry. We have a lag here. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was saying you would never think that they would be involved if they were protecting the standing up for the victims, right? So it's like
Yes.
psychological. It's like manipulation, and
Right, which is a Scorpio. That's a low level. That's like a that's the unconscious Scorpio
mm,
stuff.
okay. So
So,
I don't know if we don't see anybody else posting they want
yeah.
any reading, but yeah, we can wrap up here. It's been a lot of insights. It's been
Great. Yeah, it's been
very
fun.
enlightening all around.
Awesome. Oh,
So
fun.
I want to give you the opportunity to share your work, like how people can reach you, connect with you for readings, any things you have going on right now and your gypsy
Thank you.
adventures.
Sure. Um, well, let's see. I think like two main things. I do readings. I can do readings from anywhere. So, on the phone, which is great because can record it. Do the recorded readings from anywhere, and I like I generally do the full reading, and that's over an hour and a half. But I have recently added a 1 hour reading. Um, and all these are on my website. I even lowered my prices recently.
Hmm.
I think they're more accessible now. And so yeah, I do a mix of so like the Western astrology, the cosmic consciousness, and then I love tarot and oracles. I just love them. So I bring those in. Like I feel like the tarot and oracles really give like the exact energy. Like I came up with this thing a while ago. I call it Astro Arcana. So I combine the two, like the tarot and astrology, to give like
Mm,
a very honest check-in, so we know what's really going on.
okay.
Um, so yeah,
So
and
this is
I
something you
really
came
enjoy
up
that.
with.
Yeah, 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 and they're on my website, which is AlisonLevy.com.
Hmm.
I can type that
Yeah.
in, and the other thing is that I've just started something that let's see. Whoa. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm having technical problems here.
Wait.
I try to type and I'll just wait. It's not gonna happen. I'll do my
We can
website
add it in
later.
after. It's okay.
Um, okay. So I came up with this thing. I want to do monthly counseling for each sign.
Oh,
So
okay.
like Libra. So yeah. So like, because whenever it's your birthday, I love solar return charts. You actually get this snapshot of your coming year. It's
Hmm.
when the sun returns to the part of the sky like exactly where it was when you were born, and you get this whole chart, and it tells you like what your themes are of your year. I don't know. I find that extremely fun, and so like so imagine being like in a group like that you're meeting a couple times in the month, and then you have private sessions with me, and it's just like everyone of your sign. And so you kind of like, we get along. Like, it's interesting to like commiserate and talk to people of our same sign. So
Yeah,
I
so
think it's fun.
so
And then
monthly,
yeah,
like a month group of only Virgo. So it will go
so
sign to sign.
yeah,
Oh.
like I'm now looking for Scorpios. So the Scorpio
Mm.
one will start soon.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and I have, so I'll post my website address. I have a newsletter. Lately, I have been posting most of my stuff on Facebook. I don't know if I'll change that, but I have a newsletter too that's a little more direct, and I offer specials there. Yeah, and I also do Reiki. I can send distant Reiki. I got my Reiki masters this summer. So
Nice.
there's like a lot. There's so much more. Just feels like a lot of growth lately. So
Yeah, I can imagine you traveling and doing all these things.
yeah, if you want to bring me to your town, I'm driving from New York to California. And then I'll be in the Four Corners area doing some work. I think with someone else who has a similar astrology chart to me. I think we're gonna do some like ceremonies and spiritual work and offer things. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a lot of stuff. So if you want to bring me to like your town, we could do
Nice.
like I could do readings.
And it's
Yeah,
across the US
mhm,
that you.
yeah. And I don't have anything to do like going through the Midwest. So if you live in the Midwest, I need somewhere to stop. So
That's so fun.
yeah.
So you're traveling all across every state or?
Well, I hadn't thought of that yet. I'm I'm just going like across the Midwest. Like my destination's California, but I'm gonna check out Utah, and I want to go to Las Vegas. There's like some astrologers there I want to connect with, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess there will be like hotspots for
Ah,
for like spiritual sort of
yeah,
interest.
that's what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so wait, Ramesh is looking for a reading. Can we do that?
Yeah, but
Or are we too
he would
late?
need to
Maybe I
give
could do that. I could send
information.
him information after.
Well, if
I could always send it to him later
if he has,
if you
yeah,
wanna.
yeah, yeah,
If you wanna.
because we're wrapping up now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, so Ramesh, I'll get his information. Yeah, our information. Yeah.
because
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, that was quite in like very, I don't know how to describe as Scorpio energy, but it's like,
I'm Aquarius, so
okay.
that was an Aquarius barrage, probably.
Free-spirited, going with the flow.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, thanks so much for joining us and sharing all of this new information. To many people will be something new. We mostly hear about 3D astrology, so you know 5D astrology is really connecting to the future that we were heading into, and that's from a timeline perspective. But you look at things from different angles. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, you'll if you're watching now or the replay, you can connect with Alison for reading. You can check out what she's offering, and maybe have a chance to meet her in person as she travels on her adventures, spreading the light, spreading that higher consciousness. And again, her goal is to connect you to your higher wisdom and really help you with the challenges, going through the difficult situations that many of these periods and the next few years will bring, as we talked about.
Mm.
Will continue to really encourage us to dive deep, even though Scorpio, like we were talking about it just from one one time frame, but it's throughout, right? Oh, I see you were able to comment.
I figured it out. Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
I also noticed if folks can just also email me and I can what's that? I can send like a direct PayPal receipt because not I find people don't really like to use the store I have for some reason. I don't know. So I
Okay.
can it make me easy if they just email me and go, I'd like that rating, and then I can send that direct. It makes it a lot simpler.
Okay.
Um,
So where
so
your
yeah.
email address is
There you go. Yes. I have a few. I'll just do my general. This I recently made this one. It's a 5D planet. Um that's something we didn't talk too much about, but I that's one of my favorite parts about the new system is these the new archetypes really help explain the changes and the new energies coming in. It's very connected to the divine feminine.
mhm.
So
Okay, so
So yeah, thank you, Sasha. I really appreciate this and be happy. I'd love to chat again and
yeah, for sure.
send
Yeah, I love hearing about this and
awesome.
your side of things and keeping it light and and positive,
Okay.
even though we're exploring
S-
like dark, going deep and
Right?
in challenging places.
Yeah, we just gotta shine. It is simple. A lot of stuff's simple, like shining the light in the dark and then the fears. It's funny, yeah. There's bees now. Interesting. A bee showing up, like talking about that. Like the like just that like the fears are really in that because it's in the dark. So yeah.
Hmm. Once the light shines, right, it's not so scary anymore.
Hmm. Yeah.
Will last.
It's a process, but yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
we'll end for now, and thank you all for joining. And again, if you're watching
Yeah.
replay, there's so much that uh,
Mm.
is there to explore around connecting to your higher wisdom, and I'll see you again for another interview another time. And thanks again, Alison, so much.
Fine. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you.
All right, so
Thank
we
you,
sign off.
Sasha.
Yeah, you're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.